Welcome to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. This show was created with the intention of helping others to help and love themselves. You will hear me feature amazing souls from around the world who are making a difference by helping people in their own unique way. You may also hear me follow up with a guest I have hypnotized on an online edition of Love from the Hip, which is available on YouTube. Together, we can all make a difference, and it begins with love. Love from the Hip. In 1945, to avoid collapsing from typhoid fever in a Holocaust camp, Viktor Frankl, Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist, reconstructed his manuscript on slips of stolen paper from the camp office. Frankl was not aware at that moment if he would truly survive, nor did he know that his manuscript would later become part of one of the most powerful and influential books ever written. Published in 1946 and released only 1 year after his survival of the Holocaust, Man's Search for Meaning chronicles his horrific experiences in the Nazi concentration camps and also outlines theories that helped him to survive. Even though Frankl battled his own depression in the Nazi camp, he offered therapy to his fellow inmates, encouraging them to replay the wonderful memories they had in order to make life worth living again. Frankl had used memories of his own beloved wife, Tilly, to help him through the starvation, the torture, and the cold. Frankl affirmed that a positive attitude was essential to surviving the camps. He explained that the inner hold a Holocaust prisoner has on his spiritual self relies on having hope in the future, and once that prisoner loses hope, he is doomed. He witnessed that those that survived seemed to have purpose, and despite not knowing if his wife Tilly was still alive, she became just that. Unfortunately, after being liberated from the camp, Frankl learned of the murders of his mother, brother, and young wife Tilly. He then threw himself into finishing his book. When asked why he wanted to share his story, he replied, "To convey that life holds a potential meaning under any conditions, even the most miserable ones." You see, Frankl believed the meaning of life is found in every moment of living, even in suffering and death. In his book, he conveys that finding meaning or purpose in life is the primary and most motivating force in all of humankind to exist, to want to live. He quotes German philosopher Nietzsche, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Frankl claimed when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Meaning, although we do not have control over our external factors in life, we have the freedom to choose how we are going to respond to them. And that attitude towards them makes all the difference. Although most historians will deny Viktor Frankl's theories about the connection between attitude and survival, having suffered through a life-threatening illness myself, and having interviewed people who once were terminally ill, I can safely agree with Frankl that the will or desire to want to live life and to find meaning and purpose helped us to persevere and survive. We, like Frankl, were not able to change our circumstance, but could change our attitude. And by changing how we viewed the suffering instead of fighting the inevitable and allowing it, we were able to live again. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing astrologer, tarot reader, energy intuitive, and Reiki practitioner Walter William Boyd on my show. He will not only share with you the challenges and teachings he experienced beside his partner, who was terminally ill, but he will also be conducting a healing on the air today. And later on the show, we will open up the phone lines so that he can assist you with a free energy or astronumerology reading. So stick around after this quick break.
I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Microneedling is a revolutionary treatment that can help reduce the appearance of acne scars, fine lines, pigmentation, wrinkles, even improve the appearance of stretch marks by stimulating collagen and elastin. Sakura Skin and Mind specializes in this procedure that jumpstarts your body's natural healing process. Sakura Skin and Mind believes in not only keeping the skin up to date with the latest trends in the skincare industry, but also keeping the skin beautiful, fast, pretty, painless, and affordable. Find out more at sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA skinandmind.com.
Alternative Talk 1150, the talk of the sound.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. Today I have the pleasure of having astrologer, tarot reader, energy intuitive, and Reiki practitioner Walter William Boyd on my show. And he is coming to us via Skype in Southampton, England. Thanks for being here today, William.
Thank you very much for having me, Sakura.
So
that was a beautiful introduction, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And I just realized I called you by your middle name because you had
did.
differentiated you between your father because you're a junior, correct?
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So I wanted to ask you, you had described your partner who was terminally ill, not only as a lover, but as a teacher as well. Can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. So I met Michael way back in 2004. It was spring 2004. And for a while, everything was working quite well. You know, it was moving quite beautifully. And it was, I think, August 2005 when we woke up one morning and he had a swelling on his cheek. We thought it looked funny. You know, I sort of like, we joked about it. We called him the hamster for a bit. But you know, it wasn't receding. So I think as a matter of precaution, he went to the doctors and they did a biopsy. And literally we were walking in one of the supermarkets and we got a call and they said, we need to see you ASAP. It's lymphoma, Hodgkin's lymphoma. You know, at that stage, we didn't know what it was. We just thought lymphoma, what is that?
Right.
We got home and we did a Google search, and oh my God, you know, the situation became very clear very quickly. You know, I think him as a teacher, the way I look at it is that he had so many qualities that really sort of inspired. He was courageous through his journey. He was, you know, he had courage, integrity. He was always patient. He wasn't losing it or anything like that. And throughout all the difficulties, he was still very loving, not just to myself, but to his family, you know, very generous with the nurses and the doctors, very accommodating. And I think that was where it really came home to me that you can still be in a journey. You can still be in the depths of a situation and yet to still uphold integrity, to still uphold compassion, to still uphold love, really. But, you know, throughout his journey, because he was effectively ill from 2005 all the way till the end in 2009, I attempted to use all the methods that I could actually find. So we tried energy medicine in terms of Bach flower remedies, reflexology. We attempted you know, different things just to actually support him whilst he was actually receiving treatment. And for a while, it always seemed that we would actually reach a good point and then we'd begin to crash again. And I'd have to find a new method to actually support him, and we'd actually rise again and then we'll crash. And I think what happened was in 2008, I decided to initiate my journey with Reiki. I mean, Reiki initially tried to come into my life in 2000, but at that point I wasn't ready for it. And so I got initiated, attuned to Reiki in February 2008. One of the biggest lessons I actually learned from him, I remember he was in an isolation room. It was in the middle of summer 2007. And I was looking out, I mean, he was bedridden, and I was looking out the window, and life was just passing us by. You know, this is the peak of summer, and I'm feeling the warmth, I'm feeling the life, I'm seeing the life. People, you know, you're looking at people and you feel completely cut off from everything. And just feeling isolated, cut off, feeling completely, I guess, overwhelmed with the whole situation that I was in. And this voice came from nowhere. It was literally in my head, and it said, ride the wave. And I think from that point, it suddenly became clear that I wasn't supposed to be fighting it. It wasn't a journey about me fighting the illness. I could support, but in some sense, I had to almost navigate and almost dance with the situation that we were actually facing. That was what I think was the biggest lesson that I learned from him.
Now, after you learned that message or you received that message at that time, how did that change the illness for you?
I wouldn't say that, I think throughout the illness, I upheld and I stuck to my belief and my sort of philosophy that I would continue fighting by his side, supporting until the end. I think it was a situation where I was not going to give up. I'm not a quitter generally. That's not within my nature. And so I would push and push until I decided, or until reality showed me that we could not go any further. I think the way it changed me primarily was the way in which I felt inside. Whereas prior to that message, I think I may have been at loggerheads with the whole situation, at loggerheads with his illness, at, attempting to make things perfect, attempting to make things just right, getting everything, I think micromanaging.
Trying to control the situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would imagine a lot of fear too, right?
Absolutely. I think, you're dealing with, because here you have a person that you've actually created a future with in your mind, and you are seeing it sort of slowly fall apart. What do? You are effectively in survival mode. You are doing everything you can just to survive. And with that message, it allowed me to take a step back and almost be at peace. I won't say I suddenly became at peace, because there was still a lot of fight within me. Right. But I think it allowed me to actually be at peace.
Wow. Well, that's terrific. Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're going to have to take a quick break.
Yeah, sure.
But remember, if you would like to get a free energy or astronumerology reading with Walter, then feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527 after this quick break.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home.
Experience. One word that can mean so much, especially when it comes to working with a realtor to buy or sell a home. The only thing better would be to have an experienced team guiding you through the process.
Hi, I'm Beth Phillips York.
And I'm Ray York.
Together, we own the York team, part of Keller Williams Real Estate. We are here to help you with your next property transaction. I have over 14 years of experience selling local residential real estate, investment properties, and homes just like yours. I'm also known as the Ghost Broker. Over the years, I've managed several residual energies at the properties we've represented or sold to clients. So if you need that service, I can help you as well.
For my part, I have worked many years in new construction, land development, and with builders. Combined, Beth and I make for a powerful team on your side. So put our wealth of experience to work for you.
Selling a home? Get a free property evaluation and market analysis with the York Team Real Estate. Buying a home? Let the York Team Real Estate exclusively represent you and your interests. Log on to YorkTeamRealEstate.com. That's YorkTeamRealEstate.com.
Is your tween starting to experience a change in their skin? Want to get them on an easy at-home routine and have good skin hygiene? Allow Sakura Skin in Mind to help your tween out. This brief, deep cleansing and educational 35-minute facial is just enough to get your tween, ages 10 to 12 years old, started off in the right direction. Sakura Skin in Mind uses the latest in the clinical skincare industry to care for your tween the right way for just $65. Sakura Skin in Mind, treating skin out there with an ounce of treatment and a pound of protection. Call 206-730-7429 or go to sakuraskininmind.com.
If you're planning on building a home or a major landscaping project, you want the team of Stone Resources on your side. Safely, effectively, and correctly working with our unique terrain requires local knowledge and environmental care. For 21 years, Stone Resources has been making sure their customers' biggest investment is on solid ground. Trust your next earth-moving project to Stone Resources. Call 425-754-6792. That's 425-754-6792. Stone Resources. We make the earth move. And remember, if you need dirt or have dirt to get rid of, you can call on us. 425-754-6792.
Bored with the other stations, hammering away on the same old talking points? Try Alternative Talk 1150 and get some variety.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And don't forget, this show airs right here on KKNW every Wednesday at 2 to 3 p.m. Today, I have the pleasure of having astrologer, tarot reader, energy intuitive, and Reiki practitioner Walter William Boyd on my show. And he is coming to us via Skype in Southampton, England. And remember, if you would like to ask Walter a question, feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527. So, Walter, before the break, you were talking about the message that you received, which was to ride the wave.
Absolutely, yes.
Do you believe your partner was riding the wave too?
You know what? I think anyone who's in the peak of an experience, the peak of actually going through a journey as intense as an illness like cancer or any major traumatic experience, I think they are the wave. It's like their whole essence is actually being carried with the wave. It's so much about them being the bringers of change for the people around them, the people that matter to them, the family, the support, the helpers. But I still feel like he was the wave. He was carrying the wave. And, I think he fought as best he could all the way to the end.
Yeah.
To somehow get off the wave, if you want to put it that way, to actually get better. But I think it's really quite difficult to sort of become separate from the experience itself. It's for someone who's just a helper or a lover or partner or parent, you can always walk away. You can always walk away, and in some sense, their experience becomes their experience. But for them, they're continuously in that experience. Right. They are continuously in the wave, in the current.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a bit of identity too that goes with having an illness, right? It's
absolutely,
you identify with it, and so then it's almost like you're afraid to heal too because you don't know what life's going to be like when you're better. Right? I mean, you've been in it for so long, right?
Absolutely. I mean, he effectively suffered he went through it for 5 years, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think after a while, because he went through 2 bouts of chemotherapy, he sort of came out of it, and then it came back and he went back again. And I think, when you first come out the first time, you sort of think, actually, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I can sort of disassociate from the identity. But when it comes back again, I think in a sense, it sort of like stamps you and it becomes more intense. And I think your survival instincts become more zoned in. I think it becomes more precise and you attempt to work it. But I think it sits alongside this realization that it's not as good. Your chances are not as good, especially when the doctors are telling you your chances are not as good the second time round. And I think it was literally a case of being swept in the whole experience. And for me, I could walk away, I'd have to go home, do the chores, do the laundry for him and stuff. But he was continuously in the wave. He was the wave.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting having been sick myself and having been in it. What I learned as well is, it sounds like what you learned, is to surrender to it. And
Absolutely.
I never thought that the people around me were also experiencing this spiritual awakening, if you will, too, or whoever would decide to ride that wave.
Yeah. I think, it's not an easy situation. I as a person who facilitates healing, I really enjoy the healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
What I do recognize is that anyone who is in any way associated with something as intense, something as life-changing, anyone associated, whether you're in the very core of the experience or just in the periphery, you are transformed. Now, the difference is whether you are actively engaging in that transformation. Are you surrendering and allowing yourself to be transformed? Because you can say, I'm not going to listen. You can stick your fingers in your ears and say, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to pretend that everything's fine. And resist the change, or you can actually learn to almost adapt, grow, and dance with what life is actually presenting to you.
Right.
And be transformed through it.
Right. Yeah. If you can't change your circumstance, right? Change your attitude.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me about what happened on the last day of hospice.
Is this when he passed or before he passed?
Before
okay.
he passed. Sorry, before he passed.
Before he passed.
You had a healer come in. You had told me.
Oh yes, I did. Yes, her name was Marion. I had never met her before. A colleague of hers, she was a volunteer healer, and in the hospice here in Surrey, effectively they were volunteers who came in and who facilitated. You're not allowed to use the word healing. You're just saying you're helping an individual. But Marion understood that I was very much into the healing journey myself. So she called me into a side room and she said to me, Walter, very compassionately, very lovingly, she said, Walter, maybe it's time to cut cords. Now, that, although I was not playing with the idea of cutting cords, I'd not read any books on cutting cords, on some deeper level, I must have known that this was serious, because effectively I sensed, or I recognized, that if I cut cords, because as I said to her, I can't do it. And she says, why? Because I started crying. And she says, what's wrong? And I said, if I cut the cord, he will die.
Oh, wow.
And she said to me, but maybe it's time to let him go. And effectively, she took me through a few centering exercises, allowing me to actually almost come back to myself, letting go of a sense of obligation, a sense of responsibility, honoring his journey as part, where he was going as being part of his journey, and almost learning to accept life and what life was actually presenting to me in that moment. So at one final point, I saw this massive cord between me and him. And she says, do you think it's time to actually release it? And I said, yes. And I saw this golden pair of scissors and I lovingly snipped it. Now, obviously, he didn't die immediately, but he passed the next day. Yeah.
So do you think you were holding him here?
I think we are both holding him here. I think in some sense, on some soul level, he had agreed with me to take me through some very challenging, some very profound lessons, and to actually experience what can be seen. I guess you could actually say, well, it's still a sad moment. It's still a sad event.
Right.
But there was also, in essence, a kind of synchronicity, the way after I sort of respectfully cut the cord, to then see a progression of events for that to then, where he then passes on.
Mm.
And there were a few other events, on the day that he actually passed, where I really think it's actually brought home to me that life is full of synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the universe is constantly speaking to you, and all that's necessary is that we've got to listen.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. So what were some of the things that you noticed or the events that happened?
Yeah, so on the last day, it was a glorious summer's day. We had almost all of his family in the room, in the hospice room, but there was one brother who was actually still at work, and he would not be finishing till late that day, sometime around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I remember, he was unconscious. He had a syringe driver had been inserted, so he was now unconscious. And I just remember sort of bringing myself very close to his ears and saying, "Don't leave until everyone is in the room with you. And please do not leave whilst I'm actually out of the room." And, it's, I think looking back, it doesn't hurt as bad, but I recall the intensity, the wave was still happening then, so in some sense, we were still being transformed by this event. And around 6 o'clock, his big brother, Steve, who was at work, walked through the door, and one of his favorite songs, and I don't mean Steve's, but Michael's favorite song, was playing. It was Michael Bublé, and it's Home. It was playing. Steve walks through the door, and I'm sitting with his twin sister, Linda, and then Michael lets out his last breath. And I looked to Linda, and I think I've never sat with someone who's actually passed before. And that moment, I turned to Linda and I said, "I think he just left."
Wow.
And then the weirdest thing happened. We started hearing this beeping. It went bing, 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 bing. And we're looking around this. He's not connected to any machine. A syringe driver doesn't make any noise. And suddenly we realized that his mobile phone that was sat by his bedside table, was basically giving off an alarm saying, "No battery, no life." So, life had left. Yeah.
Wow. That's an incredible story. And thank you for sharing. And I don't mean to interrupt again, but we're going to have to take a quick break. And remember,
sure.
If you would like a free energy or astronumerology reading from Walter, then feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527.
Another summer day has come and gone away.
In this weekly Skinny, I would like to discuss the benefits of taking probiotics for your skin. New research has shown that gut health is also related to skin health. The trillions of bacteria in your gut control certain immune cells and oversee inflammatory pathways, making it akin to your immune system's largest organ, your skin. And so, a healthy gut microbiome keeps bad bacteria at bay in your gut and also on your skin. Many chronic skin conditions that are attributed to unhealthy guts include acne, atopic dermatitis, or red, itchy skin, eczema, psoriasis, and rosacea. So aside from maintaining a healthy diet, removing food allergens, avoiding sugars, and adding supplements, one should also take probiotics. In addition to sipping on kombucha and eating a dollop of sauerkraut or kimchi, taking probiotics will aid in having a healthy gut microbiome. Look for a probiotic that has a variety of bacteria strands and at least 10 to 15 billion CFU each daily. You can slowly up your probiotics, but taking a high dose right away may cause some minor stomach discomfort. I particularly like the probiotics from Dr. Ohira. These have prebiotics as well as probiotics. Prebiotics feed the probiotics so that you can maintain the healthy bacteria once you have it. This carefully blended composition goes through a 3-year fermentation process at seasonal temperatures, which encourages the survival of the strongest bacteria and makes this 12 probiotic strand formula shelf-stable without refrigeration. So to sum it up, by taking probiotics, you not only can boost your skin's health and immune system, but you can also aid in your digestion, help with proper food absorption, relieve heartburn and gas, and even assist in weight loss.
Peach fuzz is great if it's on a peach. Let Sakura Skin and Mind remove unsightly hair with dermaplaning. Although its primary purpose is to remove layers of dead skin, it's just one of the added benefits, leaving your skin baby smooth, safe, effective, fast, and affordable. What a concept! Sakura Skin and Mind wants you to look your very best, and dermaplaning is just one tool in their chest. Find out about dermaplaning at sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA, skinandmind.com. We bring out the healthy skin and healthy way of thinking you didn't know you had.
Next week on Conversations Live with Vicki St. Clair, consultant and career coach Jane Finkel knows firsthand how difficult and painful it can be for introverts to get noticed and earn the respect they deserve in the workplace. We'll share tools to help you break out of old patterns so you can create more intention, connection, and meaning at work and in life. Tune in Monday at noon Pacific Time and Fridays at 6 a.m. Catch up on more than 600 podcasts at conversationslive.net.
Alternative Talk 1150, local talk for the body, mind, and soul.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And feel free to email me at sakura@lovefromthehip.com with your comments, your criticisms, your questions, your well wishes. I'd love to know how I am doing. Today, I have the pleasure of having astrologer, tarot reader, energy intuitive, and Reiki practitioner Walter William Boyd on my show. And he is coming to us via Skype in Southampton, England. And remember, if you would like to ask Walter a question, you can call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527. So, Walter, I want to touch on, you had talked about him transitioning, your partner.
Yeah.
Was he the catalyst for the next chapter in your life?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I was very much torn, cut up inside, and I knew I had stuff to actually release and heal. So I began my journey with psychosynthesis.
Okay. And what is that?
If
you could briefly explain.
It's a type of psychotherapy, but it has a very strong slant towards acknowledging and respecting the transpersonal or the spiritual aspects of life. So as opposed to just a talk therapy, there was a very strong emphasis on things like creativity, body work, emotional intelligence, that sort of thing. So it was very therapeutic. I think I needed it, and it opened me up to so many things. It opened me up to my emotions.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to take our first caller?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right. So we have Margaret on the line from Seattle. Margaret, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for calling today.
And thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have an energy question or astronumerological? I can't even say the word.
Yeah, I was thinking actually maybe Walter could tell me what I need the most.
Okay.
But initially I was thinking maybe an energy reading, but if he has a different direction, that would be absolutely fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, Margaret. I mean, let's play it by ear. So try and bring your awareness to your heart, because I'm actually feeling a lot of tension around the throat chakra and the heart area. But I'd like you to slowly, gently bring your attention to your heart and invite your heart to give you a 3-digit number.
333.
Lovely. Okay. So 333 is very much about growth. It's very much about development. I'm not sure whether you are currently seeking or considering the idea of undertaking a new, not hobby, but learning something different, learning something new, expanding your horizons through knowledge. Now, Number 3 at the start implies that there is a continuous seeking of development, seeking of growth, seeking of expansion. But what really comes to mind is this sense of wanting to break free, wanting to actually move forward, wanting to I don't know, there's a sense of being stuck in a situation. Does this make sense to you, Margaret?
It absolutely does.
Yeah?
It
but
does.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I know I should be doing more spiritually, learning more spiritually. I'm sure you understand the word spiritually.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very broad, but
It is. But what these 3 numbers are actually saying to me is that you are currently going through a process of deep inner transformation. Now, this deep inner transformation is actually supported by efforts towards self-love. Okay? Now, what I mean with that is developing your sense of love for yourself, sort of nurturing a sense of personal value. So maybe, just maybe, your expectations of what you ought to be doing is a little unrealistic. I'm not saying that you don't have the skills, because it does feel like you've got a lot to offer, but it's like you're pushing really hard to actually try and make something happen before you're actually ready to actually make it happen, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay? And that's my message to you, Margaret.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate you coming forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Well, let's go to our next caller. We've got Addie in Redmond. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Sakura.
Thank you. Well, what's your question for Walter?
Well, I've become interested in astrology, and so I'm just learning a lot about that lately. So I guess I would just, like a general reading of whatever, again, Walter would like to go into is fine.
Okay. Right. Let's run with the astronumerology again then. Why don't you give me a 3-digit number?
Oh my gosh, I can't decide because I see numbers all the time, and like
that's fine.
Numbers.
That's fine. Right.
So,
do this little exercise. I want you to bring your awareness all the way down to your belly, because it feels like you're actually quite anxious. Bring your awareness gently down to your belly. Take a nice calming breath, and then invite yourself to give me a 3-digit number. The first number that comes to mind, that's it. No, there's anything that you give me will be perfect for the moment.
567.
567. 567 to me speaks of someone who is progressing. So that is very good. 5 says you have come from a place of being very cerebral. You've come from a place of being very cerebral. You absorb information quite easily. You're a seeker. The 6 in the middle says to me, it's fun that you're actually attempting. What you're actually integrating are things that inspire you within. You're not learning because it's for work. You're learning because it inspires your emotions. It inspires your affection. And with 7, it says surrender. And I know this sounds a bit odd, to surrender to the future, but the sense here is that the more you attempt to try and micromanage your learning, it's not going to actually deliver everything that you require. It's almost like enjoy the experience of learning, and you will actually fall into it far better than if you attempted to actually say, I've got to learn this, this, and this.
Okay. So basically,
Okay?
are you saying just like follow your bliss and don't
Follow
try to
your
be so
bliss.
calculating?
Absolutely. That's a perfect way of actually saying it. Follow your bliss.
Okay.
All right.
Okay? Addie,
Thank
that's
you.
my message to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling,
You're most
Addie.
welcome.
Bye.
All right, Walter. Well, let's go to Alice in Maple Valley. Alice, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling in. What is your question for Walter?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I would just kind of like a general reading, if you will.
Okay. Do you want to give me a 3-digit number, Alice?
Okay, 629.
629. Okay. 6 says you're a very loving, caring person. You're coming out of a situation that's a little heavy. Okay, 6, because 6 is Venus. Venus is sitting in Capricorn at the moment, so it's almost like you're being forced to be pragmatic about your emotions. And the demands of loving other people, supporting other people, have been heavy. And what you are being called to do at this point is to be more self-nurturing, more caring to yourself, and also to express your emotions more. There's really a sense that your emotions are not being expressed enough. The 6 and the 9 put together, I really feel that in the way that you have been, in the way that you've actually played the game of love, if you want to put it that way, it's very much like you give but don't receive very much in return. And at this point, you are being invited to be more self-nurturing, to express your feelings more, to express your emotions more, and to actually almost have your back, if that makes any sense, to almost sort of stand up for yourself a little bit.
Okay.
Does that make any sense to you, Alice?
Yes, some of it does.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, yes, some of it does make sense.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that you'd like to actually ask with regards to that?
I don't know if you go into like any health issues within the body.
I think that may actually require a more in-depth exploration, to be honest with you, because the time that we actually have per call is not going to let me get there.
So,
Okay.
Walter, what's your information for her to get a hold of you?
Oh, absolutely. You could get in touch with me on my website. If you do a Google search for Rainbow Path to Wholeness, or it's www, it's rainbow-path-wholeness.com, and you should be able to get through to me then.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, Alice. So, Walter, I wanted to touch on astronumerology very briefly, but
Yeah, sure.
we'll do that right after we take this quick break.
No problems.
Experience. One word that can mean so much, especially when it comes to working with a realtor to buy or sell a home. The only thing better would be to have an experienced team guiding you through the process.
Hi, I'm Beth Phillips York.
And I'm Ray York.
Together, we own the York team, part of Keller Williams Real Estate. We are here to help you with your next property transaction. I have over 14 years of experience selling local residential real estate, investment properties, and homes just like yours. I'm also known as the Ghost Broker. Over the years, I've managed several residual energies at the properties we've represented or sold to clients. So if you need that service, I can help you as well.
For my part, I have worked many years in new construction, land development, and with builders. Combined, Beth and I make for a powerful team on your side. So put our wealth of experience to work for you.
Selling a home? Get a free property evaluation and market analysis with the York Team Real Estate. Buying a home? Let the York Team Real Estate exclusively represent you and your interests. Log on to yorkteamrealestate.com. That's yorkteamrealestate.com.
Your skin is your body's largest organ. Care for it properly, starting with your face. Sakura Skin and Mind offers several clinical facial treatments to help stimulate collagen production, eliminate toxins, boost circulation, and deeply cleanse. See a new you in your mirror. Clinical facials range from $90 and up. Do your face a favor. Sakura Skin and Mind, erasing wrinkles one clinical facial at a time. Learn more, sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA skinandmind.com.
If you're planning on building a home or a major landscaping project, you'll want the team of Stone Resources on your side. Safely, effectively, and correctly working with our unique terrain requires local knowledge and environmental care. For 21 years, Stone Resources has been making sure their customers' biggest investment is on solid ground. Trust your next earth-moving project to Stone Resources. Call 425-754-6792. That's 425-754-6792. Stone Resources. We make the earth move. And remember, if you need dirt or have dirt to get rid of, you can call on us. 425-754-6792.
Microneedling is a revolutionary treatment that can help reduce the appearance of acne scars, fine lines, pigmentation, wrinkles, even improve the appearance of stretch marks by stimulating collagen and elastin. Sakura Skin and Mind specializes in this procedure that jumpstarts your body's natural healing process. Sakura Skin and Mind believes in not only keeping the skin up to date with the latest trends in the skincare industry, but also keeping the skin beautiful, fast, pretty, painless, and affordable. Find out more at sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA skinandmind.com.
Alternative Talk 1150. Talk radio for the body, mind, and soul.
When you open it to speak, are you smart?
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. Today I have the pleasure of having astrologer, tarot reader, energy intuitive, and Reiki practitioner, Walter William Boyd, on my show. And he is coming to us via Skype in Southampton, England. So, Walter, I have to ask you, this 3-digit healing reading that you're doing, astronumerology. Could you explain that to us?
Right. It's a combination, actually. I was inspired with the idea way back in 1995. It's a combination of using numerology, assigning it to specific planets. And the way it works is that every time a person asks me a question, I'll actually ask them to actually get to your heart center, because that's the seat of their inner wisdom. I then allow that heart center to deliver a 3-digit number, and that 3-digit number then will be based on where those planets, because each number is associated to a planet, where those planets actually sit in the signs at that moment in time. So the same number, as an example, 333, will mean completely different today than it would, say, a few weeks' time.
Oh, wow.
Or even tomorrow. You know, it depends on the moment. It depends on the time of day, because the chart is continuously moving.
Right.
And that's how I actually play it.
Okay. And then you have developed some other of your own processes in your healing work and incorporated those. Okay. So can you go over those for us?
Yeah, there's a method that I actually use that I'm very keen to actually share out there. It's called the heart smile process. And, you know, I think the gist of the experience, or the gist of the philosophy with the heart smile, is that the heart is the seat of the soul, or the seat of the spirit. When you're feeling joyous, energetically, you feel as an energy healer. When someone's actually happy, when they're joyous, you see their heart light expand. When they're scared, or when they're anxious, or whatever, it collapses. So the heart smile process actually creates an anchor with your smile, that allows you then, that when you actually are facing a difficult situation, to use that anchor to expand your light quotient or your joy factor, your love factor, while you're within that environment, and then to use, you may have actually heard of this, it's called the karate chop point in EFT, to use the smile process and the karate chop point to facilitate the transformation and the release of everything that is being triggered at the point while you're actually within the experience.
So it's even deeper than EFT itself.
I think it's maybe it's a vein of EFT. I'm using, I was inspired with as part of my process with psychosynthesis, I was dealing with a lot of the stuff that I was actually sort of releasing from my past and also through the experience with Michael. And EFT was one of those things, but, to actually go through all the tapping points and then end up with the karate chop point just didn't feel like it was working for me. And then I got the guidance to actually tap the karate chop point as a way of continuously flushing the toilet, for lack of a better term, really, to actually flush your system of the stuff that is rising as you meet an experience. And the heart smile process then allows you to uphold this frequency of hope, this frequency of love, this frequency of compassion and acceptance while you're tapping away, so that you are facilitating the transformation of the event, not the other way around where we are the victims of the event. In this process, you are facilitating the transformation of the event that you are being given a chance to make a difference in.
Okay. And then it's also empowering to the person, right? Because they're healing themselves.
Yes, because I think one of the things that really brought home to me in the experience with Michael was that so often when you're in that situation, people feel disempowered. And my whole healing journey, even with the astrology, with the astronumerology, the energy healing, is very much about handing back the power to the individual and giving them the chance to recognize that they are empowered, that they have choices, that they have skill sets that they've come into this world with, which can actually facilitate them moving through a situation to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and you had mentioned to me that you see clients via face-to-face and via Skype, and you had said that you also hope to never see them again, so that you're empowering them, correct?
Absolutely. I think my philosophy is, there's 6 billion people in the world. If you just work on 1% of them, where you're facilitating a change, you'll still be looked after by the universe. You're still being looked after. My philosophy is that if I can actually give back the skills or give back the power to the individual, and they actually feel empowered enough to move on with their life, empowered and fuller in themselves, then I've done my job.
That's awesome.
Because I don't want someone to be, stuck to me, in a sense.
So can you share with my listeners how they can contact you or find out more information on Heart Smile?
Absolutely. So you can actually get in touch with me through Rainbow Path to Wholeness. I believe if you actually do the Google search, Rainbow Path to Wholeness, Southampton, United Kingdom, you should actually locate me. You can also get me by Skype. Am I allowed to actually put my Skype details on air?
Of course.
Oh, okay. So it's www.astro, A-S-T-R-O, Boyd, B-O-Y-D. That's my surname. So it's www.astroboyd. Or you could even befriend me on Facebook, and we could initiate a communication and a discussion over Facebook and Messenger.
Well, wonderful. Well, thanks again for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me, Sakura. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Great. And thank you to Eric for shoveling his way out of the snow to get here today as well. And thank you to the listener for participating. And you can find me at lovefromthehip.com or sakuraskinandmind.com. You can also follow me on Instagram or on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. Remember, if you are interested in being hypnotized on an online edition of Love from the Hip, and sharing your experience with listeners later on the air, or have any questions or comments, then feel free to email me at sakura@lovefromthehip.com. And tune in next Wednesday at 2 p.m. for another Love from the Hip and make self-love contagious. Go ahead, I dare ya.
And the future is certain. Give us time to work it out.